What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host Donovan Quick, and today we're going to be going over Daniel Jeremiah's first mock draft for the NFL first round. And as you guys know, the Dolphins have had a first round pick in 3 years now. This is going to be our third year. We're finally going to have one. Obviously, 2 years ago, traded that one for Tyreek Hill. Last year, we Tom Brady / Bradley Chubb trade. And, you know, we had 2 first rounders last year. And now this year, we have the 21st overall pick. And, you know, guys, honestly, for the playoff run that we had, for the season that we had, having the 21st overall pick is probably the best case scenario. You know, if the Texans had lost in the first round, we'd be looking at even further down. If you know, the Packers had won, if you know the Buccaneers had or if the Packers and Buccaneers had lost in the first round, we could have been a lot lower. Could have been all the way down to, I think, 26, 27, something like that. So to be at 21, pretty good blessing, honestly. So at 21, Daniel Jeremiah, and this might surprise some of y'all, he has us taking a wide receiver. And personally, I'm absolutely okay with this. I've been saying since pretty much Devontae Parker left or got traded, that we need a big receiver that can go out and get something, can go out and catch a jump ball. You know, seeing Tua throw these jump balls in this crunch time to a 5'0" Tyreek Hill, and I know obviously he's not 5'0", he's like 5'10" or whatever, but like, come on, guys, you don't want to throw a jump ball to a 5'10" receiver who's literally the smallest guy on the field, regardless of his catching ability or anything like that. You just don't want to do that. And then next tallest is going to be Jalen Waddle, and then Cedric Wilson, who has, I'm sorry, bro, like, I like you as a receiver, but you have no physical ability to go up and make a contested catch. So I've been begging for someone like that. Then we lost Mike Gesicki, and it just got, you know, I think we went too far into the small and fast category, instead of trying to balance out, you know, maybe get some fast guys that are also tall. So this guy, that Daniel Jeremiah, gives us a little bit of both of that, so that way we don't have to compromise our speed while also getting a little bit bigger. And he has us taking Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. Now, this guy, he is pretty damn good. Like, he's fast as fuck, like really fast. He does a good job of not getting caught up in the press. I mean, we all saw Tyree get pressed into the absolute earth. It's funny enough, he tweeted out he got his ass pressed into Cancun by L'Jarius Sneed. He is really good at deep ball route running, and by that I mean like being able to go out there, run past the defense, have that speed to take the top off, as well as elite ball tracking. So that's really good for him as well, especially, like, you know, what if who's not going to go with Tyreek on a go route on his side? Who's not going to get caught up with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek? Like, this is a third guy that can absolutely take the top off the defense. Like, we can have a better wide receiver core than what the Bengals have now with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. Yeah, sorry about that. My bad. Yeah, so we could possibly have a better wide receiver core there. And, I mean, this guy, the only real bad things about him, his route running can use a little bit more crispiness to it at the pro level. He's going to need to pick up his pace, per se, at the pro level. So he's going to need to get in and out of his routes a lot quicker. He will need to on his slant routes, be a little bit more focused on the catch. Sometimes he gets a little, you know, too excited with the run after the catch and ends up dropping the ball. Another thing he can work on is the run after the catch. Even though he has the elite speed, his run after catch ability is just not, it's average. for a college player. And after that, it's really just his physicality. Even at 6'4", 205, his physicality could really use some work. If he's sitting out there battling for a ball, that's something that he's going to need to work on. Maybe put a little bit more muscle on him. I mean, only 205 at 6'4", could use a little bit muscle. Personally, and I've been clamoring for this guy pretty much since the off season started. I want Keon Coleman. And now Keon Coleman, FSU guy, a lot of you guys in Florida might know him. He transferred from Michigan State to FSU in 2023. He was a 2-year starter. The one thing that he does have completely over Brian Thomas is his physicality, is his ability to high point a ball. Now, he is a little bit slower. His routes, they are fast, but sometimes he takes too many steps to try to get, in his route going. And overall, I mean, he's a really, really well-rounded receiver. I would say he's more pro-ready than Brian Thomas Jr. And honestly, just being able to put him everywhere on the field. Now, Daniel Jeremiah and some other guys compare him to a old school ex wide receiver. I don't really see it that way. I see it as he could play anywhere on the field like he did at FSU. I see it where he could go in and make just the correct routes and have that physical presence that we've been lacking. I mean, we tried it a little bit with Chase Claypool, but I wouldn't mind bringing Chase Claypool back, by the way, like for a small contract. I wouldn't mind bringing him back and being like, hey, let's try you out one more time, let's get you to learn the offense a little bit better. Hopefully something clicks. If not, like if training camp comes by, he's on that small contract, kick him to the curb. It is what it is. But I would love to have a big, fast, physical receiver on this offense that we can trust to just go and catch, that jump ball, that off-script throw that occasionally we need, that occasionally in this season we were missing desperately. There's a couple of those where it's like, well, why are you throwing a jump ball to Tyreek Hill? Because he's the only receiver out there. And two is trying to make something happen. You have that type of receiver. You have a Keon Coleman. You have a Brian Thomas. You give yourself a little bit better of a chance that they're able to go out there and just be more physical, they're 6'4", each of them. Keon Coleman a little bit more bulkier. He's at 215. These guys can go over these corners and just high point the ball. And I would love to see this guy just absolutely ball. And it's funny, like Daniel Jeremiah has Brian Thomas going to us at 21. And he says that he based his mock draft after kind of his own personal rankings, as well as what he's been hearing around the league. So if he's hearing around the league that maybe we're going wide receiver, maybe that we're leaning towards a skill position instead of going out and getting maybe a linebacker or an offensive tackle or offensive lineman in general, or even another corner, I'm actually really curious as to, hearing that. To me, that kind of tells me, okay, that the Dolphins plan on probably addressing the offensive line and free agency. Maybe bringing back Michael Dieter. He is a free agent. He did play very well for the Texans. The Texans do have their starter over there. Dieter was at a backup over there. He did play in this system. He was a guard that we transitioned to center, and he played that position very well over for the Texans. So that's an option in free agency. Connor Williams, obviously an option to bring him back off of his ACL. He probably won't be ready until late preseason to even practice, but we'll see about that. But it tells me that they're gonna try to address the offensive line in some kind of capacity in free agency, and maybe try to build this offense just through the draft, and next off season, Waddle's going to be due for a contract, so we don't know if he's going to be coming back. I love Waddle, would love to have him back. Tyreek Hill, 2 years, his contract is up. He's due a lot of money over the next 2 years. So I mean, if we win a Super Bowl, who says he's not a cap casualty at that point? Who says that it's not time to trade him and, you know, try to regroup some funds? Who says that we don't do that regardless of the Super Bowl? You know, so I'm not completely against selecting a wide receiver in the first round, especially all the elite talent that there is. And honestly, we could probably end up, from what I'm seeing, getting Brian Thomas in the second round. So I wouldn't be opposed to drafting someone else in the first round anyway. But I was leaning Keon Coleman before this even came out. You know, I remember watching him a little bit in college and just his such physical presence, and everybody calling him possibly the second best wide receiver in this class, behind Marvin Harrison. I know Malik Neighbors is also up there, and people are talking about him possibly, if Marvin Harrison wasn't in this, that he would be a top 5 pick in this draft. And honestly, I see it, but from what I'm seeing so far, now these guys may climb up the draft rankings over the next 3 months, but I'm really happy with the fact that we might go receiver. If that's what Daniel Jeremiah is hearing, I am extremely happy that we are going receiver. Now, you guys can tell me differently in the comments, whatnot. That's cool. You know, everybody is entitled to their own thing. Like I said, I absolutely love that we're going receiver. And Brooks posted his mock draft. He has us going Jackson Powers Johnson, JPJ, at the 21. This guy also has a high second round pick kind of grade right now. So 21st pick, kind of a little bit of a reach, but if you like who you like, you know, is what it is. Personally, I love the move for a wide receiver, a big wide receiver, a physical, fast wide receiver who doesn't compromise what you're doing on the football field, but adds to it as well. You know, one more thing before we really take off here. One thing that I saw that was absolutely crazy to me, our EPA with both Waddle and Tyreek on the field was worse than Waddle on the field by himself. He was number 1. That was Waddle on the field without Tyreek was our best EPA throughout the entire year. Tyreek without Waddle on the field was our second best EPA throughout the entire year. Our third after that was with them both, and then obviously without your top 2 receivers on the field, the average EPA after that was last. But the thing is that neither of those guys are big. You take both of them out, you might as well tell them that you're running the ball. So it's really hard. I mean, Tyree got a little bit better in run blocking this year, but he's just not a run blocker. He's, like I said, he's like 5'8", 5'10", something like that, and he can't run block. You can't run block. You can't ask him to go and make a jump ball catch. Like, he is doing the best that he can, but he's not a true X receiver. He is a number 1, absolutely a number 1. But when the game's on the line and I need to throw a jump ball, I need to throw a ball up and say, fuck it, someone's down there, I prefer not to throw it to Tyreek Hill. I prefer not to throw it to Jalen Waddle, because they have to be open for that ball to be caught. Odds that they're open at that point with a pass rush in your face, with double coverage all over you, not high. So yes, I would absolutely love a big physical wide receiver in the first round. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Deuces.